Now, if you've never seen Avaya call reporting, there are two different interfaces you can use to access your reports, your recordings, your real-time wallboards. What you're currently looking at is at the HTML or web interface. There is also a client you can download to your PC, which is the Avaya call reporting desktop interface. Now, within this interface, you're going to do things like establish your connection or the administration or IT settings back to the IP office, or IP offices, server edition, small community network. This is where you're also going to enable your different APIs if you're going to use those. Who are the different logins that can log into Avaya call reporting? Setting up your contact center, so your different skill groups. Is queue callback enabled? What routing algorithm are you going to use? If you're using active recording, this is where you're also going to determine which calls do you record. Now we'll come back to this interface in a bit, but I'm going to start within the HTML interface. I'm going to log in as an administrator, which means I have access to everything. Now, based off of the login and with ACR 4.2, there's been a lot of improvements made to the translations. Avaya call reporting is supported in 14 different languages. To update the HTML interface to one of those languages, in the top right-hand corner, select the drop-down menu, select language, and select the language type you wish to update to. And again, that will update this entire interface, all of the reports, cradle to grave, the real-time wallboards. But let's go ahead and review just a couple of the reports. Again, Avaya call reporting reports on all your UC users as well as the contact center if you're using Avaya call reporting as your contact center. So it's skills-based routing, it's queue callback, it's web chat. I'm going to run a simple UC report, such as agent call summary. This is going to report on all your different users within the IP office. So analog phones, digital phones, IP phones, SIP phones, Equinox. It's going to report on your inbound calls, outbound calls, internal calls, and it runs the reports in skin, inside the HTML interface. Across the top here, you have a summary table, and then you have all your different details, and you can click on any of these column headers to sort by the different columns. In the top right-hand corner, if you want to download this, such as a PDF or Excel spreadsheet HTML, you can easily do that. I want to go back. I want to run a different report. I'll just select the different report type from the tags, or I can search for a report. Maybe I want to run a report on my different hunt groups, and I want to see my service level. Here you can see my different groups, but I'm going to go ahead and configure this and run it for a different time period, different week. To do that, it's very simple. We'll just select the 9th through the 15th. I can sort this by days of the week, hours out of the day, days of the month. We'll leave it days of the week. What groups do I want to select? Again, this is going to show all your different IP Office hunt groups and ACR skill groups. So if I want to run the service level on my hunt groups, I can do that. Enter your service level and hit apply. Now it's going to run inside the HTML interface, but if I want to drill down into the details, such as customer service here, which clearly had the most calls, I just hit the open tab and it's going to drill down into the different days. And then I can click on the column headers. I can go back. Maybe I want to schedule this report to run weekly, daily, hourly. Just select the menu option and select schedule report. Now I'm going to go to some of my contact center reports, which are typically referred to as the multimedia reports. There's been a lot of enhancements to the multimedia values as it pertains to web chat and queue callback. Maybe I want to see the success rate of my queue callback. I'll just look at a simple summary here. Here I can see I ran this from March 2nd through the 9th, and I had 202 calls coming to the customer service queue. 56 of those customers scheduled a queue callback. On average, they waited 2 minutes and 24 seconds before they scheduled that queue callback. We tried to call those customers back 107 times because within the contact center, you can determine how many times do we try them back. It could be 1 time, it could be 3 times, it could be 10 times. You get to decide. 31 of those customers accepted the queue callback, so we were able to get a hold of them. 53 times the customer snoozed it. None of them ever missed it, but 13 of those customers canceled it. And 10 of those customers reached the max attempt. So how many times did we determine we're going to try to call this customer back? Maybe it was 3 times. 10 customers hit that. We had a success rate of 55.4%. But maybe I want to drill down into these details. That's where cradle to grave comes in. Again, this is full UC and contact center cradle to grave. It's going to show you all of those details. And this is where you're also going to get the first glimpse of that new universal criteria filter tool that I talked about, which makes managing Avaya call reporting a lot simpler. We're going to select our date and time here. Let's go ahead and run this for last Monday. And now I need to enter my criteria. How do I want to filter this? If I hit apply, it's going to show me all calls, but maybe I don't want to look at all calls. I want to look for a particular group or a particular call. Well, I'm going to select my filter criteria. Here are all the default values that you can select from. They show alphabetically, so you can search for those very easily, or you can type in some keywords, and it's going to show you all the possible matches. So I put in group, call does not include group, call includes group, final group, initial group, or maybe I just want to sort by group. We'll go ahead and add that filter criteria. I could also add things like customer phone numbers, call durations, DNIS digits. What is it that you're looking for you can filter on? We'll go ahead and hit apply just for the group. And here it's going to show all of my cradle to grave details. Now, if you've never seen cradle to grave, it does exactly that. It shows you every single detail as it happened in a chronological order. And again, you can sort by the shortest calls or the longest calls. You can search for particular phone numbers if you want. When you want to drill down into a call, you just hit that expand button and it will show you every single detail as it happened in a chronological order. It will also show you who hung up the call. Was it the receiving party or the calling party? Who disconnected the call first? Okay, and then on the right, you'll notice your play buttons. Again, if you're using active recording, you're going to determine who gets recorded using the desktop or the management interface. But once the call is recorded, it's going to show up here. To listen to recording, it's very simple. Press the play button.
You've seen the call data. Now hear it.
It opens up this embedded player. Down along the bottom, you can see when there's talking or when there's silence using the wave view form. You can click and play from any point. On the right-hand side, you can add notes to this recording if that's something you want to do, making it easier to find the calls later. You can download it as an SPX format or a WAV format. A WAV format is about 1 meg per minute. Speaks, or SPX, is about 1/10 the size of that file, so it's a compressed format view. You can also delete the recording if you weren't supposed to record that, or you can email it, all from this interface. And all those features are permissions based. So if you don't want to allow someone the ability to download or delete, you can set those restrictions under the user management. You can also generate an external listen link. Maybe I want to send this recording to a customer, but I don't want to send the WAV file. You can just send them a link, and that link is going to apply to one of our recording APIs. Maybe I want to send the recordings to my CRM, such as like Salesforce or Zoho or Sugar CRM. Well, CRMs aren't built to upload files of a WAV or an SPX. They're built to upload text and sort that text so it makes sense to you. So you can send that recording link to the CRM and have it embedded under the contact or the account, so it's easily accessible within your CRM. Or maybe you want to use that API to send the actual WAV file or the SPX file to a different third-party company that's going to transcribe the service, speech to text. You can do that with the API as well. You can also create a snippet of the recording. Maybe I only want to download this portion. So again, some new enhancements made with ACR 4.2. But let's go ahead and go to real time, because there's some nice enhancements to real time. You'll also see that universal filter criteria tool apply to real time. Now you can build custom wallboards, or you can build template wallboards. It's very easy to build a new wallboard, and then once you have your wallboard built, you just go ahead and open that up, and you can filter. And you can have it change colors based off of thresholds that you've set. You can do leaderboards. You can put this into a full screen mode and have it loop between other wallboards. You can do gauge widgets. You can do bar charts, pie charts, line charts, and with those graphical charts, you can mouse over them, and it will show you different criteria. Okay, again, you can build as many wallboards as you want. I'll go ahead and edit this ACR demo wallboard here to show you how you can apply additional criteria and how it's going to use that same filter tool. So we'll go ahead and edit my leaderboard. Maybe I want to look at the agent's average speed of answer. So I'm going to go ahead and hit plus to add additional criteria. And I'm going to search for speed of answer, their speed of answer. But again, if I don't adjust the criteria, it's going to do all calls. What was my, average max duration? I can hit the drop down under my calculation. I'll go ahead and do an average duration, but maybe I want to apply some additional criteria. Again, this is going to build and use the same criteria as that cradle to grave. So I can search for the word group. Again, there's my same criteria, group. We'll hit apply, and we'll go ahead and select customer service again. Update the title to average. And I'm done. Again, it makes it a lot easier to manage the wallboards, the reports, cradle to grave by using that same filter tool. Once I'm done, I can go ahead and hit save and exit. To build a wallboard using a template, if you've never seen that, just simply hit new wallboard and select the template that you want. Again, these wallboard templates have a lot of great enhancements as it relates to web chat and queue callback as well. So maybe I want to use this contact center wallboard. I'll select my agents. Those are my real-time agents, desktop agents, or contact center voice agents. All of the agent types will show up in these real-time wallboards. We'll select our groups. Again, this will show IP Office Hunt groups if you're using real-time or desktop agents. If you're contact center voice agents, you can select between Hunt groups and skill groups. And you're done. If you want to adjust any of these values, just select the value, and again, you can change what is displayed. Let's go ahead and take a look at the supervisor view. Now, the supervisor view can be displayed in a list view like this, or in a tile view. Along the top here, you have your summary metrics. So it's showing you group statistics, how many calls are in queue, max call duration or max queue duration, average queue, what's been the average speed of answering presented calls. These are the default values. Here you have your agent values. Now by default, it has agent state, state duration, group login count by default. I've added inbound calls answered and outbound calls connected. If I want to adjust those over here on the right, I can edit the metrics for the agents. Maybe I want to take those out and I want to add a new metric, such as that speed of answer that we did in the wallboard. I want to see my agent's speed of answer on average for multiple groups. This time we'll select groups, but instead of just doing one, we're going to select multiple groups. You can do that, but again, it all is configured the same way. And we're done. Now, within this interface, you can do a lot of other great feature sets. If you're using active recording, you can click the menu option and live listen. If you're using contact center voice agents, you can log agents in and out. You can take them in and off of Do Not Disturb. Maybe Ashley's here today. Well, why is she on Do Not Disturb? She should be on Do Not Disturb. We can enable and disable that feature set. Okay, and now she's ready. I can also log her in and out of her skill groups. Oh, she's not logged in. Let's go ahead and log her in, and let's make sure she's logged into her different channels, voice and web chat, or you could do one or the other. Okay, if an agent's already gone for the day and they shouldn't be here any longer, such as Brandon, well, maybe we want to put him in a Do Not Disturb state, so that way the system doesn't present him any calls. If I had calls in queue, I could view those calls up here and transfer them to an available agent from this interface. Okay, now this has been the web interface designed more for managers or supervisors. What about the agents? Well, the agents are going to use the contact center agent client. This is also a web interface with just a slightly different URL. The agents are going to select their login name and then their password, which by default is their password, and they can run this two different ways. They can run this in a desktop mode where it'll just interact with their desk phone, or they can enable WebRTC where this web application becomes their soft phone. Now, if you enable WebRTC, it's going to need the WebRTC password, which is the phone password in IP Office. It's going to log in as a soft phone to IP Office. Now here they have their own personalized display. All of these wallboards back here under the management can be shared with agents. So supervisors can configure and customize a wallboard designed for the agents or multiple wallboards, and then they can just use these arrows to toggle over between the different wallboard sets. When a call is presented to the agent, it will pop up. It'll display the customer details as what group it came into, They can answer it from this interface. Here they have their phone controls where they can put this call on mute. They can put it on hold. They could transfer it. Here they can see their recent calls or their IP Office directory, or they can hit the dial pad. Up here on the right, the supervisor gave me the ability to record the call, pause, stop, resume. On the right here, I can add notes, ACR demo, or I can add account codes. These are account codes outside of the IP Office, so I can select a primary account code. I can enter a sub-account code. I was helping a customer a few weeks ago that was an insurance company. They wanted to tag what was the purpose of the call. So such as, the customer was calling because they lost their card, need to request a new one, and they wanted to create a claim. Then when I'm done, I just simply hang up. It gives me time to enter any additional notes or account codes that I need to. It puts me into an after call work state. So if I need more time, I can request more time, or I can wrap up early and say I'm done. And then the system will just present me another call once a call comes into the queue. There it comes. If the agent misses the call or skips it, that could put them into a missed call work. There's also a feature set that instead of invoking the missed call work, you can enable and deploy auto-logging the agents out of that group. Okay, so if they don't want to use the missed call work timer, you can have them log out of their groups like it did right there. So now they won't be presented any additional calls. Okay, now the agent can also disable the voice. Now, the agent can also disable the voice channel to prevent future calls, but maybe they want to stay logged into web chat. Well, web chats are presented just like a phone call, and you can determine how many web chats come to the agents. And again, with ACR 4.2, there's better reporting on those web chats. You have cradle to grave reporting on web chats. You have standard reports on those web chats. You'll be able to see, what the customer typed, what the agent typed. You have a full text log of those web chats. And then if you want to see summary reports such as how long it took them to answer those chats, did they miss any chats, did they transfer any chats, you'll be able to run reports on that as well. Oops, let's go ahead and write sure thing. See what report they want. And again, you can allow agents to select and handle multiple web chats. If you as a supervisor ever need to review what happened on these chats, again, you can run different reports for those or view those in cradle to grave. You have cradle to grave on web chat, on the queue callback. If you need to see those queue callback details, what happened? If I want to see those web chats, what happened? How long were they on the website? How long did it take my agent to answer the call? Who did they chat with? The customer details, their email address. What did they talk about? You can see all of that in cradle to grave and with some of the new enhanced reports. Now with ACR 4.2, you can also now embed this contact center agent client within Salesforce. Now in order to do that, you must deploy an SSL certificate. And that can be done within Avaya Call Reporting. But then the agent's going to log into their Salesforce. And they're going to have this phone client down here in the bottom right. Just like the web application, the Salesforce plugin can run in two different modes. It can run in the desktop mode where it interacts with the physical phone on their desk, or they can run this in a WebRTC mode. Let's go ahead and have this interact with my desk phone mode so you can see that as well as the WebRTC mode. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. I'm going to make myself available, so I want to make sure I'm logged into all of my skill groups. I'm going to take myself off of Contact Center Do Not Disturb, and I'm logged into both my voice and my web chat channels. And you'll notice there was a call scheduled for a queue callback, so it's reserving me for that call. So it's going to go get the customer on the line, and then it will ring my desk phone. But it's not going to present me any other calls until the customer either accepts or snoozes that call.
This is your queue callback. If you are ready to speak with an agent, press 1. If you need more time and would like to call back in about 20 minutes, press 2.
So let's go ahead and accept that.
Thank you. An agent will assist you shortly.
So it's going to present that call to me, and a couple things are happening here. One, it's ringing my desk phone, so I'm going to go ahead and answer that. But you'll also see it's presenting that caller information in two different places. It presented down here in my client, as well as it did an integrated screen pop. So that's the nice thing about the Salesforce plugin, is it has that embedded screen pop. Then when I'm done with that call, I can go ahead and hang up, and it's going to put me into my after call work state. So maybe I need to go into this account or contact here and make notes, or maybe I need to look up a new phone number. Okay, I can open that phone client up at any point when I want, and I can say I'm done, and I can get presented additional calls if I want to, or I can also do click to dial from this application. So if there's a number within Salesforce you want to dial, you can just simply click that number. It's going to call your desk phone first, and then it will call the client and will connect the two. Okay, now it's going to call out into that number. Okay, but let's now go ahead and deploy this as a WebRTC phone. So I'm going to log out of my phone. There I have some reason codes set. So why did you just log out of your phone? Just like do not disturb reason codes or contact center reason codes, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm working from home. So I'm going to drive home and I'm going to connect from Salesforce from my home office. Okay, so now I'm going to log back in. And this time I'm going to deploy WebRTC. Again, it needs that phone password because it's going to authenticate with the IP Office. Okay, I can now control this from my phone. I can put this caller on mute. It's calling again. Now we're connected. I gave the agent the ability to record the call, so if I need to record that call, I'm now recording it. I can put this call on mute. I can put them on hold. I can transfer them from here. I can enter my dial pad if that's something I need to do again. Or again, when I'm done, I can go ahead and hang up that call. Okay. Here, again, the agent can make themselves ready or make themselves not ready by putting themselves into a contact center do not disturb state, and I can set those reason codes, select, or if I am available, again, those calls can come in, but if I don't answer, you can have the agent go into a missed call work state, or you can have it auto log the agent out. Okay, so again, if I wanted to answer this, I could answer it, or I'm going to miss this and have it log me out rather than deploy that missed call work timer. Okay, there it just logged me out of all of my skills. Okay, so again, you can deploy that missed call work timer, or you can have it log the agents in and out of their skill groups. Just kind of depends, and you can do that on a per skill or per skill level. Do you want to deploy the auto log out or the missed call work timer? But here you can see I've made myself ready again, but I've been logged out of all my skills. So I'll go ahead and log back in to my skills. And now it's presenting that call again. This time I'm going to go ahead and answer it. And again, I can record. If I want to do that, I can handle that call, and then it's going to deploy my missed call work timer. Now, if you don't like this docked to the same web page, you can pop this out. And so that way you can, in essence, move this soft phone around wherever you prefer. Again, I can make myself ready. This time I'm going to make an outbound call from here. I can do, again, click to dial from Salesforce, but I can also make a call from here and just dial using my dial pad. Okay, we'll go ahead and hang up now. Okay, you can move that back and forth between the docked Salesforce plugin or the floating application, or you can also deploy the full contact center agent client. Okay. Let's now review some of the enhancements to the desktop application. The biggest change with ACR 4.2 are the different APIs. Here you have your API enablement section. This is not enabled by default. If you want to show these API options under Admin, System Settings, Advanced Settings, you'll want to set Show API Enablement to true. Once set to true, it'll show your different APIs. Here you can review the documentation and review the different APIs. If you want to deploy the historical data access, you need to select what report types do you want, which is why it's recommended you have custom reports, because it's going to select a report format. So that way, with custom reports, the customer can set the exact values and the definitions for each of those values. So they just select the report type that they want. Maybe they want this ACR demo report. They'll select their service account, which they'll just create one called API, and then hit Show Request Details. Select the time frame that you want. This is an agent report, so maybe I want this to pull every week or every day or every hour. You'll just select how frequently you want that. We'll do weekly, and we'll select it for all users. There it'll give you an example of what the output's going to look like. But what the customer's going to pull is right up here, that target URL. That's what they'll pull or connect to request this data over and over as frequently as they want. The real-time API works very similarly. What metric do they want to review or get in real time? I have this configured for queued calls. I want to know how many calls are in queue for customer service. Request details. Again, you can do a polling metric, so it requests it every 15 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour. This is perfect for like WFM systems, workforce management systems that want to pull every 15 minutes what the agent activity has been the last 15 minutes. But maybe you want something more in real time, so it's a constant feed. That is a WebSocket connection, which is this right here, WebSocket URL. So again, WebSocket URL is a real-time connection, piping that constantly. Polling will send the criteria over in real time, however frequently you pull that data. Other APIs exist is the programmatically auto pause or send recording data. The screen pop profile. You have that embedded screen pop within Salesforce. But what if you want to pop other applications? Well, you can do that. You can pop other third-party CRMs. As long as it's a web-based application, you're going to give it a name, which agents are going to pop, select the role. When do you want to pop the screen? Do you want to pop it when it's presented, so ringing, or when it's connecting on a talking event, or maybe on a chat? We'll go ahead when it's presented. What URL? Where are we going? Some sort of CRM. Do you want to pop this to a new window? Or if they're that contact center agent client, you can pop inside the client. And then what parameters are we popping on? Customer number, the name, account codes. What are we popping on? And then when it's done, we'll give this a name. You now have that screen pop. You can also do web services integration, change the chat display. So maybe you don't like the default view of the web chat. You can customize that using the web chat API. Under the contact center configuration, this is where you enable which agents are a part of the skills. What is their skill level? It's that easy to assign agents a new skill level. You can also determine how many max simultaneous sessions they can handle. If you set it to 5, they can do 4 web chats and 1 voice call. If you set it to 1, they can handle 1 voice call or 1 web chat at a time. Under the skills, there's some enhancements made to the language packs, meaning the default announcements. As I mentioned earlier, a number of different language packs have been updated. You can now select from predefined language packs, including English, French, German, Italian, Portuguese, and Spanish. The French is French Parisian, and the Portuguese is Brazilian Portuguese. Okay, additional language packs will get added over time, but those are the new language packs in ACR 4.2. If you need to update the language packs, there's been some enhancements made to the trimming, meaning you want to adjust how the audio is presented to the agents, because every language is a little bit different. Sometimes you won't have numbers for 60 or 80. You might say it a little bit differently, so it doesn't transcribe correctly within this. It has some enhancements to do that within ACR 4.2, but you can use your phone, you can upload an audio file, or you can use your PC to easily create a new language pack or re-record the default announcements within the queue. Now, what are some of those default announcements? There are things like estimated wait time, or things like the position in queue, or queue callback. Queue callback is a phenomenal feature within ACR because it's very easy to deploy. You just determine, do you want to get the customer on the phone first? It holds their place in line. When they're first in line, it calls them back. Or reserve agent, which you saw in that Salesforce plugin. It got me reserved first, so it didn't present me any calls. Went and got the customer on the phone, then connected us. So again, which one do you get on the phone first? Both strategies hold the customer's place in line. When they accept that queue callback, they can, or when they get that queue callback, they can accept it or snooze it. Well, how long do you want to allow them to snooze it? How many times do you want to try them back? How many times do you want to allow them to snooze? Do you want to attempt guest return number, meaning it reads back the caller ID, or do we want to force them to enter a new number? Do you want to include estimated wait time in that queue callback? These are all programmatical, these are all customizable features that you can set on a per queue or skill basis. You can also do things like max calls allowed in the queue, simple submenu options when they're in queue, so press 0 to leave us a voicemail. You can set timeouts, overflows, queue music when they're not able to reach a live agent. And again, the last thing I'll show just real quickly within this interface is how easy it is to determine who gets recorded when using active recording. Under recording, manage recording rules, we'll hit add. We'll do the basic call event because that's the one recommended when active recording's turned on. Maybe I want to record this by agents. Okay, agents again is just any user in the system. Select your agents. Do you want to record 100% of their calls, a percentage? We'll set it to only talking events, and I want to record all, inbound, outbound, and internal. Hit OK, and we're done. That's all you have to do to enable active recording.